Hey again, everybody. This is Jamie Krupka from the ODC Network for this week's challenge, our backyard series. You have two things you can do this week. You get to pick. You're going to be looking at leaves, or you're going to be looking for fungus. So, what leaves are out there? What fungus is among us? Let's see what we can find. We're going to go exploring in my yard. I'll give you some examples of things that I can find, both leaves and fungus. And then you got to check on the backyard challenge and see what you can do for your results after this week exploring. Have fun. So often we think of leaves as on trees only, but that's of course not the case. So look at here, I'm looking up, I'm seeing a maple tree. This is a red maple. If you wanted to use some leaves from our maple trees or oak trees or other trees in your yard, oh, there's a whole bunch of them up there. It'd be all right to use a couple of leaves for your project. Trees in the distance there are oak trees. Big trees around my yard. I'm fortunate to live in a place where there's lots of different trees. So we have maple trees, we have pine trees, we have sassafras trees, cherry trees, all sorts of trees to check out. Let's get a closer look at a few. All right, as we take a look at this tree here, this is just a young tree in my yard. This is a beech, American beech tree. And as I look at the leaves, they're only a couple of days after having been unfurled from their buds, so they're still very kind of wilty looking. So the beech tree has a leaf that when it's a fully mature leaf is quite crinkly. And I learned how to identify this tree early on as a naturalist because I thought it sounded like paper money. So a mature leaf has a very kind of crinkly feel to it, both in texture and in sound. So that's the American beech. If we pan over here this way just a touch, we can look at a pine tree. So this is our white pine. We know it's a white pine. It has needles and clusters of 5. It's kind of a wispy-like pine. It's not very pokey. If you touch it, it's not going to hurt you. So pine needles, they're leaves too. So this is a white pine. So now when we start talking about leaves, we also got to think about the plants that are not trees. I mentioned that in the beginning. Here you go. We have some raspberry bushes. Look at those leaves. They kind of might resemble a poison ivy plant, but poison ivy doesn't have thorns on it, and this one does. So again, I wouldn't be touching it if it was poison ivy. But look at that. The leaves almost look like poison ivy. Can't forget about these guys, dandelions. I don't mind them at all. They're actually really good for bees and bugs. So I have lots of them in my yard. They're pretty. Right next to it, we see mosses. Look at those leaves. Look totally different. Kind of feels like green carpet. Check out some of my garden plants. This guy right here, it's called Sedum. And the texture of the leaf is really kind of interesting. It's kind of rubbery feeling. They have a pretty flower on it. You can see the seed heads from last year. But this is called Sedum. Right next to the Sedum, I have a bush called Pierce Japonica. Look at how the tips of those are red. Those are the new branches starting to grow. And right next to that, little Columbine flower. No flowers yet. They're close. There's going to be a new flower right there. So that's Columbine. They have a very cool looking leaf. Kind of reminds me of some sort of weird like footprint or something like that. Columbine's a fun plant. There's actually lots of butterflies that really like it too. Now I'm on a hunt for fungus. Fungus is a decomposer. So what I have to look for are things that are decomposing to find that fungus. Let's go walking into the woods here. See if I can find any fungus on dead trees. Oh, see, here's like a spot where there's a rotten branch. No fungus on it, though. Keep looking, keep looking. Don't see any fungus back here. Boy, this might be harder than I thought. Fungus is among us. But where? All right, I think I found a good candidate for fungus. Oh, even without turning it over, look at this. Look at that fungus. That is helping this old pine tree. Looks like it's maybe from a Scotch pine. It's helping it decompose. Look at the colors on that. It's kind of like pink, salmon, orange. I don't know. I'd have to get out my box of Crayola to figure out the right color. Let's turn over the log too. Oh, there's some more. Ooh, it's squishy. It's squishy. Oh, that's cool. Let's turn over the log and see if there's any other fungus. Oh, I see some here. It looks white. You see right there? That stuff that looks white, that's more fungus. Again, it's breaking down this old pine log, pine branch. Cool. Like we always do. We put the log back because there's probably somebody living underneath there. All right, so that's a good place to find some fungus. A rotten log. I was starting to think about fungus and going, man, maybe I'm looking in the wrong places. Look at all this yard. I bet you there's fungus here. And check out what I found. Fungus right in my grass. I'll pick one of those up. Look at that fungus. Little mushroom. Cool. I was looking right past it the whole time. There is fungus among us. All right, we've had a chance to check out our yard. We found lots of leaves. Of course, leaves on trees, but then leaves on bushes and shrubs. We found leaves. There's even leaves on grasses, of course. Behind me, you can see those things. But fungus, well, that was a harder one. I was able to find some. I'd look at rotten logs, but I found some right in the grass, right in my yard. Good luck with your challenge this week, looking for leaves or fungus. Maybe you'll have more luck than me finding fungus. Go ahead and check out our backyard series and our backyard challenge. Good luck this week.